check the oil levels?
I haven't seen Becky yet.
I wouldn't know what to check for.
Because we were having feedback issues with it. Okay. Test.
Here we go. I want a house with a crowded table with a.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Bill McMillan, Worship Associate today. It's with great pleasure that on behalf of the search team, I introduce our candidate for lead minister, the Reverend Dr. Elizabeth Stevens. Let's give her a very warm welcome.
Good morning. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. Thank you for all of the ways that you've engaged in the discernment process over the past week. It's been quite a week. Maybe a little bit less for you than for me, but still. And here we are, close to the finish line. And I am just head over heels. So, welcome to this time, this place, this space. These are the words of Stephen Schick. From the loneliness of troubled times, we come
To discover that we are not alone.
into the dwelling place of togetherness. We come
To collect remnants of hope.
from fear that all is lost. We come
To discover what will save us.
into the comfort of each other's arms. We come
To feel the strength that has not yet vanished.
from darkness. We come
To wait until our eyes begin to see.
into the refuge of fading dreams. We come
To remove illusions and focus new visions.
from despair that walks alone. We come
To travel together.
into the dwelling place of generations. We come
To pledge allegiance to being peace and doing justice.
Come, let us worship together.
You can hold my hand when you need to let go. I can be your mountain when you're feeling valley low. I can be a street light showing you the way home. If you can hold my hand when you need to let go. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. Let us take on the world while we're young and able, and bring us back together when the day is done. If we want a garden, we're gonna have to sow the seeds. Plant a little happiness, let the roots run deep. If it's love that we give, then it's love that we reap. If we want a garden, we're gonna have to sow the seeds. Yeah. On a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. Let's take on the world while we're young and able, and bring us back together when the day is done. The door is always open, your picture's on my wall. Everyone's a little broken, and everyone belongs. Yeah, everyone belongs. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. together when the day is done, and bring us back together when the day is done.
Today, the Dupre family will lead our chalice lighting.
The flaming chalice is a symbol of the Unitarian Universalist tradition, the liberal religious tradition in which this congregation belongs. Will those of you here in person please stand as you are able for the chalice lighting? If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to light it with me at this time.
As we kindle this flame, we recommit ourselves to nurturing the spirits of one another and the common good of the world we share. May the light of this flame be welcoming to all who seek a liberal religious home.
For those of you already standing, I invite you to remain standing for our opening hymn. Our opening hymn this morning is number 1000 from the Teal hymnal, Morning Has Come. I may have mentioned this before, but my name is Bill McMillan. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm particularly glad to serve as part of your worship team this morning. Now, whether this is your first or your 1000th Sunday with us, whether you strolled, rolled, zoomed, ran, or danced in, we are glad you chose to join us. We are one people of many beliefs, identities, origins, ethnicities, sexualities, and genders. So whoever you are, wherever you've come from, whatever your faith or lack thereof, and whomever you love, all are welcome here. The UU Fellowship of Raleigh is an intentionally inclusive, liberally religious community actively serving the common good of our shared world. This morning, one of our lay ministers will be available in the front right corner of the sanctuary after the service to talk with anyone who might be experiencing circumstances in their lives and would like to talk to somebody. I hope all of you will read through the Chalice email that was sent Friday that talks about everything happening about you in UUFR. You can also check out upcoming events section of our website. Our in-person social hour this morning will be downstairs in Founders Hall. I now invite you to meet and greet your neighbors.
If I could have everyone's attention, please. Be so grateful if you could take your seats. I hope you can continue your conversations in social hour. We are doing something that has never been done before. We are doing a craft project all together. But I need you to listen carefully to the set of instructions, and most importantly, I realized in the first service, this instruction: do not leave your seat. Stay where you are seated, okay? It's very exciting, but I need you to stay seated. Okay.
We also need to make sure everybody has a pipe cleaner.
If you do not have a pipe cleaner, please raise your hand, because Connor here has pipe cleaners and will make sure to give them to you if you need one. Okay, and we'll get, yes. Wonderful. Okay, I see some in the back. People need pipe cleaners. How did y'all escape our pipe cleaner distribution system? This
I
is
think some of them
disappointing.
came in a little late.
Well, yeah, okay.
Stealth entrance.
There's that back door we weren't guarding.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We're waiting for... Now, does everyone have a pipe cleaner? If you still need a pipe cleaner, raise your hand. I see one back there.
It's really fun to see everyone wiggle them around up high. Just really, that's pretty amazing. Wow.
So we have a story this morning. It's called The Circles Around Us. It's written by Brad Montague and illustrated by Christy Montague. And the pictures will be up on the screen. We begin by drawing a circle on the ground along each shoe.
We don't have that drawing ability, but we do have this pipe cleaner. I'd like to invite everyone to go and make your own individual circle for yourself.
Or whatever shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. A safe little place for just one person. Nobody in this circle but you. You could keep that circle closed to everyone but yourself, but that would be like a library with just one book on the shelf.
So if you twisted your circle closed, this is now your opportunity to go ahead and untwist it. And just take those two ends and have them touch, but be able to open up.
So let's draw a bigger circle for you and your family to share.
Now, we're going to go, this is where it gets exciting, friends, but just listen closely. With one person nearby, one person or maybe two, but that's it. A small little chain is going to form while you connect your circle and a nearby person's. So that we start having little duets and triple chains. And I apologize, you can make a big circle. I love that people have made a big wide circle together, but also chains are where we're going with this. That's some foreshadowing. We're going to continue on with our exercise.
It becomes a happier circle as more loved ones come to stay. And wouldn't it be even better if all your friends could come to play?
All right, so here's the next step. We should have circles that are in 2s and 3s. If you look, we have these rows that are separated by aisles. We're not crossing aisles yet. But we are going to try to make chains with everyone who is in your row of 8 to 10 people. In the back row, you get to have a lot of fun. But if you could quietly try to pass along your circles to one another to make a little bit bigger of a connected chain.
And our story continues. So you stretch and you draw your circle even bigger than it's been and let a few more people know they're welcome to come in. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we all go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. Yet there are still so many outside the circle who are different in all they do. Though it feels slightly uncomfortable, we draw a bigger circle for them too. It doesn't mean the circle is easy. It can get harder the more we share.
So here's the harder part. Listen closely. We're going to have some teen assistants. Grayson and MK are going to be at the front right here. And then any other teen assistants can be in the middle where we're going to collect these chains because we're going to take the chains that have been created in each individual aisle and connect it with one more aisle, the outermost connecting with the middle aisles. And so you can see Charlie here has taken a chain and brought it over to the middle. And we're going to have Grayson doing the same, passing them inward to be collected in this middle aisle so that we can lay them out on the stage.
Wonderful things can happen when love is known and felt everywhere. As time passes, our eyes open. We see others we really care for. And that's when we ask ourselves, well, what's this circle really there for? So let us create bigger circles all around us for the rest of our days. Let our caring ripple out in a million different ways. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we all go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. As our circles grow and grow and grow. We watch them wonder-eyed. But remember, the whole thing started with just the love you hold inside.
Now, we do not have time to connect this in the sanctuary, but our Chalice Chapel children do. So here's what's going to happen. We are going to have our 1st through 5th graders work together during service to see just how big of a circle we can create using this chain of all of our circles connected, in addition to the circles from the first service. And if you go down to the Fellowship Hall, Founders Hall downstairs for social hour, you'll see how big of a circle we've created. So at this time, I'm going to invite our youngest friends to go to the following places. So listen carefully. If you are in Sunshine Circle, you're going to go with Miss Andrea over to that entrance over there where the Sunshine banner is. If you are in 1st through 5th grade, you're going to go over to that corner right there. And if you are a middle schooler in 6th through 8th grade, you're going to go join Catherine over right by the Sunshine banner. Will you all join me now in singing Go Now in Peace?
Good morning. My name is Russ Outcall, and I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a member of your board of directors. Now, normally I would tell you that I'll be downstairs at social hour after the worship service if you have any questions for me about the board, any concerns that you'd like to share, or just say hi. But I'm not going to do that today. The reason is because I'll be passing out ballots for our congregational meeting. So let me talk to you a little bit about that. And maybe next week you can talk to me about any concerns you might have about the board. So our congregational meeting on whether to call Elizabeth Stevens to serve as our next lead minister will take place today, right after a brief social hour after this service. The meeting will begin at 12:45 and conclude by 1:15 p.m., followed by a reception in Founders Hall. We need at least 130 members to attend the meeting to make quorum. So if you can go, we really would appreciate it if you would attend that meeting. If you plan to participate in the vote and have not yet received a green in-person ballot, please visit one of the ballot tables. There's where I can talk to you, immediately after the service. Those tables are located just outside the upstairs and downstairs doors of the building. You'll see us. We want to get the ballots issued as quickly as possible so that we can start the meeting on time at 12:45 p.m. So everything we do at UUFR is only possible because of the generous financial support so many of us provide. For those of you who have set up automated giving to UUFR or who send in a check by mail every month, I'd like to thank you now for your generosity. If you would like to make a contribution in person this morning, we invite you to bring it forward and put it in one of our offering plates. If you would prefer to have an usher come to you, please raise your hand. You may also give using one of the methods that will be shown on our screen. Our offering will now be given and gratefully received.
This is the time in our service when we acknowledge some of the joys and some of the sorrows of our community. We do this because we believe a joy shared is a joy made even greater, and a sorrow shared is made easier to bear. As this week has included Earth Day, celebrated this past Wednesday, may we share our gratitude for this planet that holds and nourishes ourselves and all we love. May we remember that we are part of the web of all existence, that we are interconnected with all that holds and nourishes us. And may we recommit ourselves to the work of protecting our world and all it contains, especially in the face of so much needless violence, destruction, and dehumanization. Karen Madison shares that Lane Tracy, a former member here at UUFR, passed away on April 13th. A memorial service will be held at a later date. May we keep his wife Athena and other family and friends in our thoughts. James Garcia is concerned that his father was hospitalized with a brain bleed and had emergency surgery. His father is doing okay, but it will be a long road to recovery. James, we send our thoughts and prayers for his recovery. Jerry Meisner is grateful that her husband Larry has made much progress at last. They both hope that he will be released from Rex in the next couple of days. They are grateful for the support of this community. They definitely feel the love. As we hold these shared joys and sorrows in our hearts, and as we reflect on the joys and sorrows, fears and hopes of our own lives, let's be together in stillness and in silence, opening ourselves to the Spirit within us and amidst us, called by many names, but known to every human heart, that leads us to a fuller and deeper and richer experience of life. After the silence, we'll sing together hymn 402, From You I Receive. But for now, let's be together in stillness and in silence.
Our reading this morning, chosen by Reverend Elizabeth, is Appalachian Elegy by author and poet Bell Hooks. 1. Hear them cry, the long dead, the long gone speak to us from beyond the grave. Guide us that we may learn all the ways to hold tender this land. Hard clay, direct, rock upon rock, charred earth. In time, strong green growth will rise here, trees back to life, native flowers pushing the fragrance of hope, the promise of resurrection. 2. Such then is beauty, surrendered against all hope. You are here again, turning slowly, nature as chameleon, all life change and changing again, awakening hearts, steady moving from unnamed loss into fierce, deep grief that can bear all burdens, even the long passage into a shadowy dark where no light enters. 6. Listen, little sister, angels make their hope here. In these hills, follow me. I will guide you. Careful now, no trespass. I will guide you word for word, mouth for mouth, all the holy ones embracing us, all our kin making home here. Renegade marooned, lawless fugitives grace these mountains. We have earth to bind us. The covenant between us can never be broken. Vows to live and let live.
Phew, what a week. My brain is full. Thank you to the choir for sticking around. My brain is full, but more than that, my heart is full to overflowing. It feels stretched. There are so many new connections, so many more beloved people that are now in my heart, in my circle of care. And you are beloved. I know it's going to take time to really get to know one another, but the seeds are there, the connections are there. So whatever happens in the congregational meeting after the service, it's too late. I already love you all, so you're just going to have to deal with it. Now, in the whirlwind, I almost missed Earth Day, which is one of our high holy days in Unitarian Universalism. So happy Earth Day, a few days late. The modern environmental movement was inspired, at least in part, by pictures of our beautiful planet taken from space, our blue boat home. How many of you followed the Artemis II mission? It was so amazing. From up in space, it's abundantly clear that the world, this planet, is all one piece, all one circle. Interdependence isn't just a word. Whatever illusions of separateness we might superimpose, there's an underlying wholeness. We are part of the earth, part of nature, not separate from it, which doesn't mean we aren't also autonomous beings. I've been fascinated by this idea that Madeleine L'Engle introduced in her book, A Swiftly Tilting Planet. It's one of the sequels to A Wrinkle in Time. How many of you have read A Swiftly Tilting Planet? I see some hands. Okay. So the premise revolves around microcosms and macrocosms. L'Engle looked at the way the solar system has the same basic shape as an atom, the way a watershed map looks an awful lot like tree roots, and postulated a universe made up of concentric circles, going infinitely small and infinitely large. So a cell in our body becomes a galaxy for tiny beings that also have autonomy and free choice. And our whole galaxy becomes a single cell in the body of an unimaginably vast being that in turn exists as a cell in an even vaster being. Mind blown. I think I was about 10 when I read it for the first time, and I actually put the book down, which was not a thing I did back then, because it was such an amazing possibility. And while the book is a work of fiction, there's a feeling of truth in there somewhere. The microcosm exists inside a macrocosm, and what happens within the microcosm impacts the macrocosm. We, as human beings and as human communities, are both macro and micro. We each contain multitudes, thank you, Walt Whitman, and we are part of systems of various sizes, including the global ecosystem. And all of it, whatever its order of magnitude, whether tiny or gigantic, all of it matters. All of it makes a difference. Are you familiar with internal family systems? So it's a really useful school of therapy that helps us identify the different voices and patterns within our own personality and then look at how they interact. And then there's family systems, which looks at how dynamics work in a family. And then there's systems thinking that can be applied to human communities of varying size, out and out until you get the whole global ecosystem. Anyway, let me clamber out of this particular rabbit hole and circle back to the point I'm trying to make, which is that we are not separate. We are not separate from the natural world. We are, by definition, a part of it. And so many of the patterns we see in the natural world, we can also see within and or among ourselves. For example, evolution. On a time scale that encompasses billions of years, life evolved from a single cell into all of the incredibly diverse forms of life we find on this planet. As a species, we have evolved over the last 300,000 years from a single Homo sapiens into all of the incredibly diverse flavors of humanity. As individuals, we evolve and embrace diverse perspectives and points of view. Now, I like to remind people that evolution isn't always a pretty process. Its primary mechanisms are mutation and death. And what that means is, on a personal level, experimentation and failure are essential to our growth and learning. Now, what evolution does is it takes those concentric circles and shows us they exist in time as well as space. The universe is everything it was and everything it is becoming. Our planet is everything it was and everything it is becoming. We are the product of generations of ancestors and of all the decisions we've made along the way. We're connected to all that is and all there was and all that will be. Now, if we look at the rest of the natural world, we discover that we're definitely not the only ones who know how to connect. Last week, I talked about murmurations of starlings and schools of fish. This week, I'm going to talk about trees. It turns out that trees, forests of trees, are connected by mycelial networks, fungal networks, that allow them to communicate with one another and redirect resources. Have any of you read The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben? I see a couple hands. So he's a German forester whose life work has been paying attention to and learning from trees. There's a lot of wonderful stuff in the book, but he makes two observations that I want to highlight. First, trees don't siphon resources to themselves. The stronger, healthier trees are not the ones who are best at sucking up all the resources. The stronger trees send water and nutrients to the more vulnerable among them. They've figured out that if sick trees have what they need, they're able to fight off disease, and then the sickness won't pass through the whole forest. They recognize that one strong tree standing by itself is vulnerable, where a less strong tree surrounded by lots of other trees has more safety. In other words, trees understand that all thriving is mutual. Second, sometimes trees siphon resources to stumps. That is to say, apparently they find value in staying connected to their history. Trees remember their ancestors. Now, of course, no one has actually figured out how to speak tree or fungi for that matter. So we can't know for sure whether they are creative thinkers, but there is evidence of compassionate connection, which makes me wonder, is there something in these soft animal bodies of ours that instinctively knows that all thriving is mutual? That experiences interdependence rather than theorizing it? And does that other thing our brains like to do, the categorizing and synthesizing and pattern recognition, does that somehow, sometimes get in the way? I'm asking these questions at a historical moment when, at a particular macro level, our species is engaging in extractive behaviors, indulging in greed and tribalism, funneling money to the wealthiest and most powerful, sacrificing everyone else. It's survival of the fittest economics. And I'm asking because I wonder if we're trying to think our way out of messes that we might need to feel our way through. Unitarian Universalists have historically been very thoughtful people. Many of our ancestors were folks who loved books and data and discussion and debate. And many of us still love those things, yet here we are at a time when we can access any information we want on a device that fits in our pocket. And here we are at a time we can't differentiate in that ocean of knowledge what is true and what is false. When the real news is so absurd it seems fake, And when AI is creating fake news so convincing it seems real, how do we know what is true? Here we are at a time when we might be better off relying on that instinct for connection, on the knowing we find at the center of our circles of belonging to guide us to right action. Here we are. And it feels a little scary, right? Feels a little scary and uncomfortable. We want to be able to use our big brains to convince people of the truths that we see, but most of the folks at that extractive macro level are apparently impervious to reason. They exist in a different media ecosystem than we do, so we feel powerless. I write to my legislators just about every darn week, and all I get back are form letters reiterating their support for the president and the policies that are driving us all off a cliff. But relationships make a difference, especially relationships across difference. One of the themes that came up over and over again in the course of this week is that people in this congregation have a deep longing for the microcosm of the congregation to reflect the diversity in the macrocosm of the triangle, particularly racial diversity. I heard a lot of stories of success and some stories of failure. I definitely saw evidence of a lot of very sincere love and respect for one another. But if I could say just a quick word to my fellow well-intentioned white folk, and those of you who don't identify that way, feel free to let me know either now or later if I'm getting something right or getting something wrong, nods or shout-outs or snaps, whatever. White folk, it's important that we build relationships the right way, for the right reasons. Everyone who walks through the door deserves to be welcomed for the wholeness of who they are. It takes courage to come to a new church, to walk into an unfamiliar place. And people, no matter what identities they hold, come with deep needs for spiritual sustenance, for beloved community. And we need to remember to meet all newcomers with warmth and graciousness. We need to get to know them. Ask them what they're looking for. Seek to meet their needs. And maybe don't immediately try to get them to be part of the teams working on racial justice. Now, we can and we should unlearn racism and dismantle white supremacy culture, both in ourselves and in our community. And there are a lot of resources that are readily available to help us do that. You know, online you can actually use the algorithm for good. There's some really good content creators making anti-racism reels, and once you start following a few of them, the algorithm will send you more. Or if you're trying to limit use of the device in your pocket, there's some really brilliant writers I can recommend. Point is, it's not fair to expect people who already bear the brunt of society's injustice to be the ones to teach us how to combat racism, or any other ism for that matter. So if we meet and greet with open hearts and graciousness, if we learn and unlearn what we can, and when we make mistakes, because making mistakes is part of how we learn. When someone tells us we've said or done something that didn't land right, something they experience as offensive or hurtful, the other thing we need to do is accept that feedback as a gift, as an act of courage, which means letting go of our need to be perfect, to be good white liberals. It means moving into uncomfortable places, working with trauma and shame. And that's never going to be easy, but it actually can be fun. And it is always, always sacred. So those of you who hold other identities, how'd I do? Did I do okay? All right. I am really excited to be coming to a bigger place, a more diverse place on all fronts. I'm currently serving in Idaho, and the Idaho State Legislature decided last winter to abolish DEI, which is ridiculous. You can't abolish diversity. Diversity is reality. Nor would it be a desirable outcome even if you could. Diverse communities are resilient communities. Now, of course, if you trace it back, it's always really about the money. Idaho chose to defund all of the educational programs that supported students with historically oppressed identities. They also defunded anti-bullying programs and curricula because, God forbid we have our children learn how to be kind to each other. It's awful. It's this backwards thinking. And it was hard to know what to do because writing letters, making phone calls, sending emails had no impact whatsoever. But then something happened that taught me something important, because what made a difference was relationships. Because I had developed relationships with the Black Student Union, they knew me, and they reached out to ask for help funding their Black Excellence Gala after they got the rug pulled out from under them. And because I had relationships with progressives, both in my congregation and beyond, we were able to raise over $8,000 in less than 24 hours. And it took less than 72 to fund the whole thing. And what's more, and this was the really beautiful part, because the folks who donated now felt connected to the people who were part of the Black Student Union, they actually went to the gala. Now, 2 years ago, it was me and like 3 other people. This year, over 50 members of the congregation I serve in Idaho showed up, and they all came away moved by the brilliance and beauty of those students, who in turn felt supported and loved by the wider community in a moment when they had lost their institutional support. Essentially, we are living in a moment when we're being asked to crowdfund basic decency. And not everyone who is decent has the funds to share. Some of us are being swept along on the coattails of the greed in evidence at the macro level in our nation, while others are being ground beneath its boot heel. So this is a moment when we need to tune out the voice of culture, trying to convince us to focus on what we have to get, what we want to get, and tune in instead to the voice inside that's telling us what's ours to give. That voice of generosity, of compassion, of hope, sings from the place where we're woven together, where we connect with love and profound respect. I heard that voice coming out of the mouths of so many of you this week. I heard pain and longing and helplessness, and I heard story after story about all you are doing as individuals and a community in the service of love, in the service of life. So hopefully I'll be back in the fall to do all this work alongside you, but in the meantime, keep up the good work. In the words of Marge Piercy, weave real connections, create real nodes, build real houses, keep tangling and interweaving and taking more in, a thicket and bramble wilderness to the outside, but to us, interconnected with rabbit runs and burrows and layers. The good news is that we are already connected, interdependent on all levels, micro and macro, past to present to future. And the even better news is that there are invisible fibers that connect our hearts and our lives and weave us together. There's more than one World Wide Web, in other words. We have the capacity to plug into the interdependent web of all life, that web that's woven of love. And if we do, if we stay connected to that web, we'll find there the answers we truly need and the blueprints for the world we're working to create together. So be it, and so may it be. Let's sing together, number 1018, Come and Go With Me.
In body or spirit. Thank you.
with me the words to embody our chalice flame. We extinguish this chalice that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light our paths. We leave this place. May it guide our way until we are together again. Beloveds, and you are beloveds, so deal with it. I really hope that I'm going to be back to be with you next fall, that things are going to go well for the vote. But even if not, I want you to know that we are connected and that you are connected, not just to me, but to you's across this country, people outside our tradition, people of goodwill, people who care, people who still care. And you can trust those connections, you can lean into them, and you can live them with joy and generosity. And together, we can build the future that's worthy of our children. I love you all. Go in peace. Come back next Sunday.